I have a 2008 Ranger Z520 that needs new seat skins. I ordered the skins from Ranger. They arrived last week, and now I'm attempting to pull the seats out and see if I can do this project myself. But stay tuned. I'll show you step by step. Hopefully this will help some people out if it turns out, of course. But let's see how it goes. First thing we're going to do is pull this center piece out of the seat. You can see it's kind of velcroed in place in there. There's a couple screws in there we got to remove. Next, we're going to take all these 3 screws that are just behind your flip-up seat. You can see them right here. So we'll pull those out. And then we're going to go to the other seat, do the same thing over here, those 2 screws behind that center seat area. Okay, we got those other 2 screws out. Now the bench should just pull free. There we go. It's a little bit stuck there, but that whole bench should just come out in one piece. And then we'll get it set on the bench over there. Take a look at it. Okay, it took a little bit of finagling, and it's not light, let me just tell you, to get this seat out. It comes out as a whole bench and it weighs a lot. There's the bottom side of it. Okay, we got that one of the seats separated from, there's a main plate on the bottom which the center seat basically connects both the driver and passenger seat all as one bench. So we just remove these screws along here and then take these staples out of this little bit of carpet that basically holds that whole plate on, and separate the 2 seats. Okay, so the seats on these Rangers, on this particular model, kind of break down into 4 parts. It's the center unit here, which pulls out. Obviously, remove these staples. This backing here, and that goes to the back of the seat also. The headrest, and then this piece here, the bottom. So you're talking about four different things you have to put the seat cover on. So the trickiest thing I found out was getting this headrest off, and on the back it had an emblem on it that you take the sticker off, and there's 3 screws and the plate comes off. But apparently, and then I was like, I couldn't figure out how to get this head off. I did talk to Ranger, and apparently there's 2, you got 3 holes here for the emblem. These 2 holes here are actually go into screws that go through the center of the head and pinch it basically onto the seat. They're big, long screws, and I had a hard time getting them out of the one seat. I'll try this one, but that's something that took me a minute to figure out there. But and I'll go through the rest of it as how you take it apart. So stay tuned. Okay, once you get that headrest off, then I flip the seat over, and there's 2 bolts that hold this, basically the seat bottom on. So you take those off, and you flip the seat back over, and then you can take the seat bottom off. Those 2 bolts, once you get those 2 bolts out, you can pop the front of the seat away from the frame, and then you're going to want to remove these 4 screws here on the seat bottom. That'll remove helps hold the seat bottom in place. Okay, once those are removed, I just pulled that seat bottom off, and there it is. It's a messy frame left behind here. We'll clean up good. All right, to remove this, the skin off the actual backing and the sides, you can see these 4 screws that hold a little bit of or 5 screws that hold the framework in. And then on the bottom, of course, you got all these staples. So you got to remove all those staples to peel off that skin. And we can start putting the new one back on. Okay, on the bottom pad, there is a little curtain that you basically strap down. I apologize for this video if it's not clear. But basically goes down on top of the pad. You'll see it when you disassemble it. And then this cushion, which got a little bit messed up. Again, that's one thing. This was kind of glued to the backing of this fabric, the old fabric. So I think this is going to leave a few little divots in my, unfortunately, in my seat, and I don't know over time if it'll, you know, flatten out. But basically, this center pad, you're basically, you know, securing it down around it, and then you flip this over it and then you'll take this pad, slide it under here, and then wrap your fabric around that and staple it. Okay, so that completes the seat bottom. You can see where I ran quite a few staples in here. There's a few areas you got to make sure you keep open, which are these screw holes. There's holes, nuts where the bottom goes in, and then also screws onto the front. This is kind of what it looks like after it's done. Not perfect. I've got a little bit of looseness here. You know, it's just hard not being a professional upholsterer to know the exact, but hopefully the sun will shrink it in place a little bit better. Okay, here is the seat bottom, or I'm sorry, the seat back. Got that ready to go. And the seat bottom's gonna go in place, so it just kind of slides in there and sits on top of these springs, this cushion. Okay, just wanted to show you real quick the headrest, how it goes on. I ran 2 screws through the back, and then it pinches the front in place. And then this plate will go over these 2 bolts, and once that screws in place here, this is where this Ranger sticker will go over that. So that basically covers those 2 bolts. So when you're going to remove the headrest, you take this emblem off, you peel the sticker off, take these 3 screws out, and there's 2 basically screws. Now from factory they're buried, so you won't see them. There'll just be 2 holes in the fabric, and you got to kind of dig in there with your screwdriver. So hopefully the way I did it here, I put some washers, they're more visible, but hopefully they won't over time create any issues. I don't think so, but that headrest was a tricky thing to figure out, so just wanted to let you know that. Okay, what I did is I reassembled the bench in the boat because it's so heavy. underestimated how much it weighed when I pulled it out. It was just easier to put all 3 pieces in the boat and then assemble them there. And then hopefully I can just slide them down in place and then screw them in. So, just to go back over on this project with this particular Ranger, these seats were made up of basically 4 components. The bottom, the seat bottom, the backing, this centerpiece here, and the headrest. So it's 4 pieces. There's 3 pieces, there's 3 separate seats to this bench that are all bolted together. I did not do the center seat because it was in pretty decent shape, probably for not being exposed to the sun when it's normally in the down position, because that's where there's a step when it's placed down. So yeah, all in all, Ranger did a good job of providing the skins. They actually were sewed pretty spot on. I really didn't have any issues. Some of them had a little extra fabric, which is probably good when you're tackling a project like this. A little more fabric than they had, cut it a little more precise when they originally did it at the factory, but you know, all in all, they did a good job. I mean, and I think the total price for the seat skins for the 2 seats was like right around $300 with tax and shipping and everything. So other than buying the staple gun and the tool to remove staples and the staples, you know, probably into this project maybe no more than $350 total, and then just time. It did happen to work out where I was at a stay in order for the coronavirus, so this is where I had time to finish my project. So anyways, I hope this helps, and best of luck if you decide to tackle it. All right, take care. Okay, the 3 main tools I used for this project, I went out and bought an electric staple gun, which was definitely needed. I used these stainless steel staples. I figured they'd be good for rust, corrosion, and then this really helped. It's a staple puller. There is thousands of staples that you have to pull in order to get the fabric off, but this is what they ended up turning out. They're all installed and completed at this point. Turned out pretty good. I wouldn't say perfect. I'm certainly no upholstery guy, that's for sure, but pretty happy all in all how it came out. And main thing is you just gotta have a lot of patience, just like any project you take on. And I think the next time I do it, I probably will maybe do a little better job. So I learned some things, and hopefully this video will help you guys out if you decide to tackle it yourself.